One of the greatest causes of suffering stems from knowing what you want, but not doing anything about it. There's this book called The Knowing Doing Gap in which they talk about just that. It's written by Jeffrey Pfeffer and Robert Sutton. They talk about the disconnect between knowing and taking action, or you might more commonly know this as procrastination. The longer we stall, the more we breed indecision, fear, and aversion to the thing that we actually want. Mel Robbins, she even wrote an entire book on this called The 5-Second Rule, in which she explains this.
There's a 5-second window between the instincts, the shoulds, the urges, the inner wisdom, the things that can change your life if you listen to it. Got a 5-second window from the moment you feel that instinct to move. And if you don't, your brain is actually designed to kill it.
That was a clip of Mel Robbins from Lewis House's channel, and I'll link the full video in my description. I also wanted to add my personal story in using the 5-second rule. So a few months ago, I was trying to wake up earlier, and for a few weeks, I was having a lot of trouble with this. The longer I would stay in bed, the less determined I would be to wake up earlier. And then I found out about the 5-second rule. I gave it a shot. I counted backwards in bed, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I just shot up. I was doing that consecutively for a few weeks, and it really helped in making me wake up earlier and also helping me do things that I really found annoying to do, like taking out the trash. I would implement the 5-second rule for that too. So I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it out yet. Whatever you call it, procrastination, resistance, the knowing doing gap, just the fact that there's so many names for it shows how much of a common problem this is. So I'm going to share with you guys 4 tips that you can use to bridge that knowing doing gap and help you get going. My first tip is to apply some reverse psychology. Instead of adding pressure onto yourself to do something, tell yourself that you don't have to do anything. This tip is more so helpful to those people that have found that added stress and pressure doesn't actually drive them towards doing something. For some people, the added stress and pressure may actually have an adverse effect that feels paralyzing. So instead of adding on to that internal pressure, you may find it helpful to relieve that pressure in applying this mental reframe of going from there's this thing that I have to do to I don't have to do this, but I want to. This really depends on the person. It comes with the rationale of when you tell someone not to do something, for some people, it makes them want to do the thing even more. So if we were to say that we don't have to do something, we might achieve the opposite effect in driving us towards actually doing something. My second tip is to make an action plan. Perhaps the reason why you're not taking action is because although you know what you want, you don't know how to get there and you're afraid to mess up. My personal thought is that it's totally okay to mess up, especially if it means that over never starting something at all. You gain experience in the process, and there's so many lessons that you can learn from that you can apply the next time around. But I also totally get it if you can't afford to mess up the first time around. So what I'll say about that is to make an action plan of how you're going to achieve what you want, break it down into steps, set up due dates for each of these steps, and treat it like your own personal project. Think about your future self as you're making this action plan. Your future self is going to be able to look back at that very moment that you decided to make this plan, take that very first step, and the step afterwards, and just feel so proud of you for doing that. In making an action plan, you're tackling the how of how to get something. As you're breaking these down into steps, it's not going to seem as big of a challenge as going from point A to point, Z or Z for you Americans. You're just going to be able to focus on the very step that's in front of you and just take it one step at a time. Like instead of thinking of it as one steep hill that you're having to climb, you've now added these steps and it's more so like a hike or even a trail. Totally doable. My third tip is to prioritize. Another reason why we might not be taking action is because we could feel like there's too many things to do. Decision fatigue, that's a term plagued to describe how when we have too many options in front of us, option A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that it makes it harder for us to actually make a decision. You ever go to a buffet and you're presented with just so many options? There's countless appetizers, entrees, desserts, and you just put a little bit of everything on your plate because there's just so much to choose from. But then the second time around, you get a lot wiser and you only put the things that you enjoyed the first time around on your plate. And this is because you realize what is actually worth putting on your plate. And that's exactly what I'm telling you right now. Prioritize the things that are actually worth putting on your plate to eliminate decision fatigue. This could look like focusing on 3 tasks that will actually make an impact towards what you want, instead of filling up your to-do list with busy work that actually won't get you very far towards what you want, but just takes up a lot of time. All right, so my last tip. Okay, so my last tip isn't really a tip. It's more so me trying to get you to realize that the little things that you do, they do add up over time and they will bring you to the result that you want. Just keep going, don't stop. Even if you feel like it's silly just to put in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that is better than no effort at all. So little effort is not wasted effort. Don't feel silly about that. Like, for example, if you were to eat a salad every single day and you have this goal of losing X amount of weight, you eat this salad this one day, you're not going to see results right away. Maybe not even the second day or the third day. It might even be weeks or months before you actually see results. And then one day someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, it looks like you've lost some weight," or makes a comment. I don't recommend like making comments about people's weight in general, but it happens. So let's say someone makes a comment about that and you realize, oh my God, yeah, I did lose some weight. Sometimes you do these things every single day, like you eat that salad every single day, and you're so used to seeing yourself that you don't notice the results. But sometimes other people see it and they'll be able to tell you if they haven't seen you in a while, especially. So just keep at it, just keep consistent. There's a saying called the compounding effect. You may have heard about it in terms of putting money in your savings account, where if you were to put a small amount of money, you let it sit in that savings account and allow the compound interest rate to do its magic, over time it will grow into something significant. Well, the same thing kind of applies if you were to think about the effort that you put in every single day. Not quite in the sense where I'm not saying that the effort that you'll put in will compound over time. The point is that the little effort that you do, even if it's a little amount, over time you do that consistently, it will grow into something significant. That's all for this video. I appreciate you staying with me till the very end. If you found this video helpful, go check out my video on how to tap into your inner confidence, and it'll help increase your confidence level so that you can tackle whatever it is that you actually want to do. I'll link it for you right over here. And I'm just gonna end with my usual outro. I love you guys. Until next time, peace.